Today we're going to compare a Sennheiser 421 with a Shure SM57 on a 9x13-inch tom. Very specific. Yes! Before I started filming today, I decided to do a test run, and the SM57 is a lot quieter than the Sennheiser 421 by about 15 dB. So I bumped up the SM57 to be able to match the Sennheiser 421 so we can actually hear them at roughly the same volume. So both microphones are set up and ready to go, so we can track it once and hear the difference. Let's go. Okay, so we're in the DAW, and I'm going to jump to the section where I'm actually playing a little bit more so we can hear the differences. Let's see, let's start with the 421. Here we go. Now the SM57. Back to the 421. Back to the 57. Okay, so right out of the gate, I'm hearing that the 421 kind of sounds a little bit warmer, a little fuller, and the low ends is a lot more present. The articulation isn't, it seems a little bit rounded, and yeah. The SM57, to my ear, sounded a little papery right out of the gate. Higher pitched, I guess, a lot more high end coming through. So the transient seems to be really actually great on it. The high end is a little distracting because it kind of feels like it's missing quite a bit of the low end. But I could see it definitely being usable. Actually really usable if you used a little EQ. So let's do that. Let's check it out with some EQ and see what we can see, if we can get it closer to the SSL, the Sennheiser 421 sound. Let's use an SSL channel strip to do that. Okay, let's play the SM57. I'm going to roll off a little bit at 8K. Maybe try a little bit at 3K. I think I'm going to bump it up a little bit at 50 hertz. Let's see the difference. That's without, that's with. Without. Still without. And with. Now let's compare it to the 421. So let's go 421. SM57 with EQ. I don't know, it's pretty good. So I personally love the 421s. They make my job a lot easier. Right out of the gate, they just sound good, actually great. With a little work though, you can make an SM57 sound great on toms. And you saw just how little work I did. And if you do, compression, you get it into a full mix, because this is just one tom, one mic. There's, overheads that, start coloring the picture a little bit. And like I said, compression, reverb, EQ, the whole thing. And then once it goes to mastering, then there's all of that. So with all of that said, I'm still a huge fan of the 421s because they just right out of the gate sound great. But that's not, I don't know, it's kind of an amazing thing that the SM57 at $99 compared to a close to $500 mic with the 421, it can sound really good. Fantastic on snares, obviously. It's one of the most widely used snare mics for snare. Snare mics for snare. And yeah, just kind of surprising that it can sound that good on toms. But I think that with a little EQ, pretty magical. So that's my 2 cents anyway. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Oh, by the way, if you notice that the SM57 in this example here is super short, it's because it's from the May miking system. Back when I was gigging and doing a ton of shows, I had the May miking system, and I would show up to venues and they would just basically plug into my drums, and it was so easy. Made my life a lot easier, and the engineers that, their job was just a lot easier. But for the studio, I found that it was kind of restricting, and it was kind of like it was a set it and forget it mentality, but I don't like to set it and forget it. I like to move things all the time. I'm constantly changing my setup, so it didn't really work. So I just brought I had 4 of them, but I sold the other ones because I didn't need them, and I kept the one just because you never know if you're ever going to need it for something. So I just kept one of them. And I use it primarily for my snare drum, and sometimes I do like guitar cabs and stuff like that, but it's rare that I do that. Anyway, the SM57, again, is from the May miking system, so if you see it and you're like, what in the heck is that? That's where it came from. Okay, so that's all I've got for now. Let me know what you thought, and I can't wait to read your comments and your thoughts and all of that. I hope everything is going well in your part of the world. Thanks again, and I will see you next week.